Pakistani voters have spoken, but the mandate is anything but clear. So as the counting still continues to proceed and is now inching towards the finish line, what is interesting to note is that no single party on its own has received a mandate for forming the government on its own. And this has now clearly hinted at a hung parliament is what can be expected. In the latest press conference, the PTI chairman, Gauhar Ali Khan, has said that the party will not negotiate with anyone and that Imran Khan remains their prime ministerial candidate. Now, earlier in the day, both Nawaz Sharif and the jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan declared victory in these elections. Now, we'd like to remind our viewers that the result is still due for about 13 more seats where the counting is still on. Now, according to the latest figures, the independents sit comfortable at about 100 seats. Now, Sharif's PMLN is second in the race, with the party having secured 71 seats. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's PPP is trailing at about 51 seats. As far as government formation is concerned, the path is fairly clear to a coalition government. The question, however, is who will form an alliance in this race to power and inherit Pakistan's financial crisis. The law mandates that independent candidates have to choose a party within 72 hours of the election result being declared. What remains to be seen is who will the bloc of independent candidates choose to form the government between Nawaz Sharif and Bilawal Bhutto. Or will the PMLN and the PPP sideline the majority of Imran Khan loyalists and form an alliance of their own? Now, Pakistan's elections have been at the centre of poll rigging allegations. Not to forget the spurt of violence and terror attacks that were witnessed in the lead-up and also on the eve of the voting day, which resulted in a lot of political uncertainty just ahead of the elections. Now, to give us more perspective on this, we're being joined in by my colleague Anas Malik, who's been tracking all the developments very, very closely for us. Anas, good afternoon to you. Now, we are inching closer to the finish line in terms of the counting of votes, and the picture in terms of who stands where appears to be a lot more clearer. But what is interesting is that both the PTI and the PMLN have declared victory in these elections. But tell us, who is more likely to form the government at this moment?
Well, that's a million-dollar question, Saleh. At this point of time, there is still uncertainty. Last night, there were meetings in Lahore with regards to a possible coalition that the Pakistan People's Party and the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz could have, but it is still up for grabs. It is still up in the air because with regards to the election positioning, it is still there's still uncertainty. 71 seats have been clinched by the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, whereas 54 seats of the Pakistan People's Party and 100 seats by the independent candidates. I was a short while back, I was at the press conference of Barrister Gauhar, the interim chairman of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, and the PTI has declared victory as well. And they, in fact, have called on and have been requesting others to respect the mandate of the people that has been given to their independent candidates. So in about 3 to 4 days from now, we'd be having much more clarity as to who goes on to form the government. Saleh.
Absolutely, indeed. And also, Anas, tell us a bit more about the PTI chairman's statement, Gauhar Ali Khan, where he said that PTI will not negotiate with anyone and that their prime ministerial candidate will be Imran Khan. But Imran Khan at this moment is in prison and is barred from contesting polls and holding office for the next 10 years. So how is it that the PTI hopes to get him to power?
Well, the first part of your question, it was in response to my question at the WION News, and I was very categorical with him because in the run-up to the elections, Imran Khan has on more than one occasions made it clear to court reporters inside the Adiala jail that he would want to negotiate with the establishment, but the establishment was not ready. So now that he is in the driving seat, his party is in the driving seat with the most number of independent candidates having clinched the elections, would they still be willing to negotiate? Now the context to it was that Barrister Gauhar had just met Imran Khan just earlier today, so therefore it was in context of that, and Barrister Gauhar was very categorical in saying that they would not be negotiating with anyone, and rather their fight is not with any institutions, and they call on all to respect the mandate that has been given. That is a very categorical call that has been given by Barrister Gohar there. In response to the question by our colleagues from Reuters, Barrister Gohar was asked that who could be the possible prime ministerial candidate of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, and he was very categorical but rhetorical as well. He said that Imran Khan Niazi would be the PTI's candidate, but at the same time this was more to do with rhetoric, because Imran Khan, you rightly mentioned, is in jail. He would have to cross a lot of bridges until to the point he gets here, to the point of the prime ministerialship. So I think that's more of a rhetorical question, rhetorical answer on the part of Barrister Gohar. But he has also made it abundantly clear that in the next 2 days the party's strategy with regards to possible alliances would also be made clear in the next 2 days' time.
Absolutely indeed, Anas. Thank you very much indeed for joining us and getting us all those updates there. And also in this broadcast, we're being joined by Mr. Sayeed Hass, who's a columnist, and he's joining us live from London. Mr. Hassan, thank you very much indeed, sir, for taking time out and speaking to us here on WION. Now, let me in fact begin by asking you this. Now, you're joining us from London. Can you tell us, what is this London plan which Imran Khan referred to, which he says has now failed in the aftermath of these election results that are coming in?
Well, for a start, I didn't have anything to do with the London plan despite being here. But Imran Khan is referring to the fact that basically Nawaz Sharif with other powers, international powers, and the establishment, so to speak, in Pakistan, decided to displace him. That was the vote of no confidence, and bring about Nawaz Sharif back into power. That is in summary, what the London plan is all about. So he basically alludes to a external inspired conspiracy to deprive him of power and bring about Nawaz Sharif into the prime ministerial position.
Right. Now, the mandate that seems to be thrown out by the election results, there are 14 more seats for which the results are yet to be announced, where counting is still underway. But largely, the leads appear to be fairly clear. It is the PTI-backed independents who are the largest bloc. The PMLN is the single largest party. But, at this point of time, what does this say about the politics in Pakistan? Even though Imran Khan was inside the prison, the PTI's election symbol, the bat was taken away from them, does Imran Khan still continue to remain the most popular leader in Pakistan?
I think the election results clearly indicate that Imran Khan, despite all the handicaps he has faced over the last 6 months especially, but over the last 2 years, is overwhelmingly the most popular leader. I think most polls show that, but the most important thing is the election results. If you count the overall votes that have been cast across all the 4 provinces, and if you sum them up, PTI-backed independent candidates have got the largest majority in terms of votes counted. Even in terms of the number of seats in the National Assembly, the independents are the largest bloc. Now, most of these independents, there may be a few who, 4, 5, 6, who might not be backed by PTI, but much of these independents are backed by PTI. So I think his contention, or the contention that PTI and Imran Khan is the most popular leader, that there's a ring of truth in that.
Right. And also, what do you think are the chances of Nawaz Sharif perhaps, cobbling up some kind of a coalition? In his address yesterday that he gave, he said that the PMLN is open for a coalition government and will reach out to other parties with whom it can form a coalition. Do you think the PMLN and the PPP can again come together, considering the kind of very vitriolic rhetoric that had been resorted to by the PPP leader, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, in the lead up to these elections?
In politics, anything is possible. One day people can be criticizing each other. The next day they can be in a coalition government. So the vitriolic statements can be set aside. But however, the PPP is obviously looking at the future, and especially Bilawal, who is quite young. He's only 35 years old. He must be looking at the future. And for him to join a coalition which is in many ways questionable, whose mandate is questionable presently, there must be some second thoughts going. It isn't as automatic as we all assume. Bilawal will be very carefully looking at the future and not wanting to be seen to go against the public mandate. He's quite a savvy politician despite his youth, and he'd be wanting to have a greater degree of credibility. The coalition that is formed, as you said, cobbled up together, will be a relatively weak one. It will have too many constituents, and given the political instability already prevailing, it could add further to it. And in fact, there's not only the political stability, there's also the economic questions that we face right now in Pakistan.
Absolutely, indeed, Mr. Hassan. Thank you very much indeed, sir, for joining us from London and getting us that perspective there.
Pleasure.